Travis, and out here in Austin, football is more than a game. It's a religion. I'm trying to be the next iconic whiteout at Ohio State.
But is there a player in the NFL that you like to model your game after?
My guy, Terry McLaurin. When I first got to Ohio State, he was a senior, and he was like a big brother to me. And I always liked this game, and I always try to take some part of his game and try to put it into mine.
What's going on, Washington Commander Nation? It's your boy Commander Rio checking in. It is Tuesday, April 26th, and we are 2 days away from the NFL draft. I have a special guest today, one half of the Tay and Todd Washington Commanders podcast, my boy Deontay Hollums. Welcome to the show, my guy.
Man, what's up, Rio? Looking forward to this. I mean, we talked about so many draft scenarios in the group chat, man. I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to being on Rambling with Rio for the first time by myself. And I remember as we first got started, man, it came a long way, man. So proud of you, man, and just keep pushing that content.
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, we're both Woodbridge natives. We used to hoop against each other back in the day when we was younger. We both come from the same area. I made my first podcast appearance on their show, and after going on their show, I was inspired to start creating my own podcast. So this is one of my inspirations right here to do this thing myself. And this is Martin Tahue from the War Room, in case you didn't know. But before we get into today's episode topics, this episode is brought to you by Washington on the Daily on Instagram, at WSH on the Daily on Instagram, and BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. If you are going to gamble smart and do it with BetUS. Get your Calvin Ridley parlay poppy on with your boy using my specific link in the description below. But today, we're talking draft. We're 2 days away from the Commanders being on the board at 11. And it's time. Like, I think we're going a very specific route despite all the reports. Like you said, in our group chat, we have mood swings. Every day it's a different, I think we're going to go here. I think we're going to go there. Twitter, all these reports coming out. We heard from Ron and Marty yesterday. What is your feel right now for what's happening on Thursday?
I feel like it's been right in front of our face the whole time, but just like the Commander's name, like obviously in the beginning there was like Ron loves Olave, he likes him a lot, and I just think that it's right in front of our face. But I think Ron kind of slipped up in the beginning in showing how much interested he was in the receivers, that now they're trying to throw out other things, other areas. Oh, maybe defensive tackle, maybe cornerback, or maybe safety Kyle Hamilton. I think he's trying to throw out different names on purpose, just to kind of get the attention off of the guys who they really want. And I mean, that we're going to talk about those two guys here on the show today.
Yep. And today we're talking about Ohio State Buckeyes, because I'm going to stand firm on this. Yes, we've done 1,000 mock drafts. We've made predictions all over the place, you know what I'm saying? But I think by the end of Thursday night, an Ohio State Buckeye receiver will be on the roster as a Washington Commander. And it's more of a matter of which one is on the board when we pick, because I think we're going to pick one of them. Ron doesn't travel often in this off-season process to go to pro days or anything like that. Ron was active as hell at that Ohio State pro day. Like, I'll probably post the clip in here. Him and Marty Herney look real comfortable chatting with Olave. The wide receiver coach Drew Terrell was in the building. Like, they were talking to Garrett Wilson too, and they were all over it, man. Like, how do you view the two receivers from Ohio State?
So they're two different type of receivers, both dynamic and both offer a lot to the offense. If we were to draft them, I think if Garrett Wilson, you look at last year, he had 1,000 yards, 70 catches, 12 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. And, that guy is jump ball, big play. You can do so much with him. You look at the deep threat capability, ran a 4.3, what? I don't know what 4.3 something, but
I think it was like 4.37. Yeah, well, no, I think it was like 4.34 or something like that. Olave was like a 4.37.
And he runs 4.3, deep ball capability, jump ball capability, as I mentioned, as you would. We don't really have that type of receiver. We didn't see that from Diami, but I like how he gets in and out of his routes. You can do so much with him behind the line of scrimmage. kind of like a Debo, not as physical, but he just offers so much. Just so much. I think Olave is a little bit more capped in a sense to where people think he's already reached his potential. However, if you look at his numbers, I think he has about 30 touchdowns in his college football.
He's like 35. He's the all-time leader in
All-time.
Ohio State history.
All time, yeah. So he has what? Right here, I'm looking at it. 35,
right?
35.
Yep.
And I mean, I just think he's steady Eddie. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to get to his spots. Carson's going to be able to, if we do end up with him, the quarterback's going to be able to trust him. I think of a Cooper Kupp type of guy who's going to be in his spot, but he's faster, runs 4.37.
Yeah.
Intermediate, he can knock it out the park at any level, end zone, red zone. So two different type of receivers. He's not going to be a guy like a Garrett Wilson who's going to throw the ball. You're going to throw the ball up, and he's going to jump up and get it and go get it like a Garrett Wilson. But he's going to be a guy who you can count on. He's going to run his routes. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He looks like he takes care of his body. So I'm excited. I think they're two different, but I think they both offer a lot to an offense.
Oh, yeah, and I think they're both right up the alley for what we need on this offense. Like, if you love Terry McLaurin, you'll love Chris Olave because he's a smooth operator just like Terry, except he's a little more smooth. I call him the Maserati. My man moves very fluidly. He has a plan every route. He gets off the ball the same way. He sells his routes good. People are overthinking it with Chris Olave. Like, I understand he's under 200 pounds and he's under 6'1", but just put on the tape. He's breaking down cornerbacks left and right every play. And personality-wise, he is 1,000% a Ron Rivera character guy. I could even see a scenario where he's higher on our board than Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson, while he's a humble guy, he has more of that athletic arrogance and swag to him. And Ron is boring. And Chris Olave has that like boring, great, like well-spoken, yes, sir, no, sir thing to him. And I could just see Ron eating that up. Like, you know?
And, you know, another thing that stood out to me was what Ron talked about, the 2-minute drill. And talking about how players get in and out of their routes during one of his one-on-ones. I think it was with Scott Abraham.
No, that was the one. I think that was the one with Logan Paulson.
Logan Paulson. And it just stood out to me that, you know, he just seems like Chris Olave, a guy who's going to take his route seriously. And I'm not saying no knock against Garrett Wilson. It just seems that Chris Olave brings a professional like aspect where he'll be a fan favorite right off the bat. And he just brings like a professional aspect to the team where it's like, okay, man, this dude, like, you know, you can count on him every Sunday to do exactly what he's supposed to do. So it's going to be interesting. I like both of these guys. I wonder who they have on their board higher than the other. Like you said, with his background and his yes sir, no sir type of mentality, I think that may put him a little bit over Chris Olave. And I don't think it's because of talent. I think the character puts him just a little bit more over Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I love them both, bro. I love them, but I would be a 10 out of 10 excited for either one because just like you guys on your podcast, I'm screaming for the offense over here, bro. We've 5 years straight, we've drafted on that defensive unit, and they have not ever lived up to expectations. They have the talent there. Jack Del Rio, Ron, and company, they need to get the best. They need to cap the ceiling and have players play to their expectations and play to their strength rather than trying to force them into scheme and stuff like that. Guys like William Jackson, like you threw him $14 million to be a man corner and then you're putting him in loose zones every play. Like, we got to play guys correctly. I don't know what we're doing with Payne. Report come out today talking about we may trade Payne because we're not going to sign him. I don't know what the plan was there. You don't let Matt and Settle out the door if you're going to then trade Payne. What are we going to do? Take a D tackle, take Jordan Davis in the first round? That would piss me off. Like, I think we have to go receiver there. What do you think about that?
You got to go receiver there. I think with the D-line, you can't pay all four of them. Obviously, you got Sweat coming up. I think you can get more production. You can get the same amount of production from a fifth rounder that you can get from Payne. You may kill me or whatever. I think Ron wants a guy with a motor. I think Payne gives up on plays. I want to say he's lazy, but I think as the course of the game goes on, I think he starts to get a little bit tired. I think Ron you don't need first round picks on the D line. You just really don't. That's too much money tied up. And I think you can get as much production. How many sacks did Payne have last year?
I think what do you have, like 3, 2.5,
That's what I'm
or
saying.
something like
You see
that?
what I'm saying? Like, you can get that production from a 6th round or 4th round type of guy. But I think they messed up that situation with Ioannidis, cutting Ioannidis and letting Tim Settle go. But I know they like Perry and Winfrey from Oklahoma, who seems like a beast. He has a motor, and was he the Senior Bowl MVP, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he was up there, and he's a baller. I just don't want to pick an interior guy like, he actually had 4.5 sacks. He didn't have a bad season at all. Him and Jonathan Allen, they eat, but I just feel like if you're gonna let Settle and Ioannidis go, you have to lock up this dude at this point, because the depth isn't there, and I don't want us to draft an interior player early in the draft. But we're talking about receivers right now, and Garrett Wilson. For those of you who don't know, I call him Baby Odell Beckham, man. That dude is explosive. He knows how good he is, too. He had, in a recent interview on CBS Sports, he was, I'm the best receiver in the class because I'm the most versatile. Put me on the inside, put me on the outside, throw me a jump ball, send me vertical. I'm breaking you off across the middle. Like, he knows how good he is. If you haven't paid attention, that Ohio State receiving core is so special. And the best one of the group isn't even in this draft. Jackson Smith and Jigba next year. They haven't had a receiver get drafted first round in 15 years. They're going to have it 2 years in a row, and they're going to have multiple this year.
That's crazy.
Man. That is wild.
Well, Michael Thomas. What was Michael Thomas?
2nd round pick.
Wow.
That was the Doxson draft. The Doxson and Treadwell draft.
Oh my goodness. Don't get me started on that.
Okay, and speaking of that, since we're talking about receivers with size, you would lean towards both Olave and Wilson over London? Because I know me personally, yes, I would.
See, yes, initially, but what gets me with London is his breakout age. The man's only 20 years old and has yet to reach his max potential. I think he's more of a tweener, London, and you're drafting him more off of upside. But I think with Wilson and Olave, you know what you're getting right out the bat. You're getting pretty much what they are now, but escalated some. So if you're going off potential, I would say London obviously has bigger upside than Olave. I think Wilson's upside is right on par with London's, but I'm personally taking Olave and Wilson over London. Plain and simple.
I concur. And we're going to get killed for it because, we see what London can do, and like we slept on him earlier in the process, but I want the sure thing for this offense, you know what I'm saying? And Olave and Wilson also are not coming off of injuries, bro. Like, that's a factor too. Since this episode is about we're guaranteeing that a Buckeye receiver is going to be taken on Thursday by the Commanders, you can put a little asterisk next to a name too. That's Jameson Williams. He was also a part of this receiving room. You know what's crazy? They had a receiving room of Jameson Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson. That is insanity. That is 4 first-round picks all in one receiving room. That is, oh my God. I can see why Jameson got out of there and went to go do his thing in Alabama at this point. Would you be mad if we took Jameson Williams at 11?
No. I just want offense. All this cornerbacks talk is scaring me.
Buffalo nickel.
Yeah, the Buffalo nickel. Although I would like Kyle Hamilton, give me a receiver. I just think if we come out of here with any 3 of those, considering with the asterisks around Jameson Williams, Ohio State Buckeye guys, former Ohio State Buckeye guys, I think we have the best offense
in the division.
In the NFC.
In the NFC, that's high praise. I think we're up in the division. I think we got it though.
I think NFC. If you look at this, and like I said, if you look at Jameson Williams wouldn't be ready possibly till let's just give him half a season, give him some time to recuperate. If you get Jameson Williams, you get Garrett Wilson, you get Olave, you got Terry McLaurin, you got one of those rookies, you got De'Ami Brown, who'll be hit or miss. Let's just say he'll be like an Aldrick Robinson that'll catch a deep threat every once in a while, a deep ball. Then you got Curtis Samuel.
Yes, sir.
hopefully we get a tight end in the draft. You get another running back. I just don't think. I think if you get a receiver, you have a chance to put the offense up to the top. And Jameson Williams, like I said, I wouldn't be upset with that pick. Like I said, I don't want Stingley. I don't want Sauce Gardner. I don't want Kyle Hamilton. I mean, I understand, yes, that that looks good, the Buffalo nickel and everything. I look at the Rams secondary. They have Taylor Rapp, who's a first-round pick, and they have Jalen Ramsey. Other than that, they have undrafted rookies. They have third-round picks. They have fifth-round picks. You don't need that, and you don't need to pick that high in the secondary unless you have a guy like a once-in-a-generation guy like a Jalen Ramsey. So I would not be upset. I say all that to say I would not be upset with Jameson Williams. I just want a receiver, period, at 11. I don't care who it is, but I really believe it's going to be Olave and Garrett Wilson. Like, we're guaranteeing it. And I know you've been pushing it in the group chat. You said, look, no matter all this talk, we're getting Garrett Wilson and we're getting Chris Olave. And I really believe that. I really do, like Ron would say.
Yeah, after all the talk, all the smoke, all the feelers, all the Kyle Hamilton, Derek Stingley, Drake London, let me tell you something. 2 of those 3, if not all 3 of them, are going in the top 10 of the draft. Yeah. They're talking Stingley at 3 to Houston, and I would agree with that because he's better than Sauce Gardner to me. Don't mention me. But Drake London could go to the Jets. Garrett Wilson might even go in the top 10, but the receiver boards are crazy league. Why I was listening to First Draft yesterday, and Todd McShay said the receiver rankings league wide, obviously according to Fit, they're so different. He said there are multiple boards where Chris Olave is wide receiver 1, boards where Drake London is number 1, boards where Jameson Williams is undoubtedly number 1, boards where Garrett Wilson is number 1. So everybody's take on the receiver class is crazy. And for those of you who say, but the receiver class is so deep, you could take one later. Talk to me when the 7 or 8 receivers go in the first round and we get the pick 47 and we're getting wide receiver 11. And it's not the same. It's not, all receivers are not created equal. John Mechie is not Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson, bro.
At that point at 47, I wouldn't even want a receiver because then you're getting like 11. You might as well get top 5 linebacker probably there, or the number 1 tight end, or top running back. I think you have to go receiver right here at 11. You just absolutely have to. I mean, unless you get Pickens, maybe, but Pickens is not going in the second round. Pickens is going in the first round. I truly believe that.
Yeah, me and Jalen had Pickens coming off the board. I believe he picked him to Tennessee at 26, and that makes a lot of sense. That seems like a good rank. If it wasn't for injuries, he'd be going even higher. It wouldn't even surprise me if he snuck into the teens. People forget how good George Pickens was, like in the SEC. That is not to be scoffed at, but I'm here to tell you that Thursday night, if you do not expect an Ohio State Buckeyes receiver to be picked here in Washington, don't turn on the draft because I see it. I see it coming, but I'm not going to give you my prediction of exactly which one it's going to be till tomorrow. I'm dropping my Washington content creators, fans, and media prediction compilation where I'm checking the pulse of all of our fan base, content creators, fans, followers, subscribers. I want to know what everybody thinks the pick's going to be at 11. Tay is included, and a lot of people, a lot of familiar faces. I'm going to tell you which one, but I'm going to bang the gavel right now and say a Buckeye receiver is going to be the pick for us, whether that be 11, a trade back, or trade up. I think we're going to get one of those guys. You concur on that conclusion?
So do you think it's a possibility for trade up for one of these guys? I mean, obviously not a lot, but trade up.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to trade up for anyone, but I think we're going to somehow acquire one of these dudes, man. I think we're going to get them. And I think it's very obvious which way they're leaning. And I don't think they expect one of these guys to be on the board, but we're going to see come Thursday, man. 2 days away. You know what would be the absolute curveball? Someone takes Olave in the top 10.
What if the back end Giants, Falcons, Jets. Seahawks, Jets all go receiver?
Oh my God. That we're definitely getting our Buffalo nickel. Bro, I don't want a defensive player. Like, I get it. Kyle Hamilton is a top top 3 player in the draft. Derek Stingley, I love him. There's some good interior D-line guys, Jordan Davis, and I don't want that. Devin Lloyd is a great linebacker. There's some good guards. I don't want any of it. We got Carson Wentz here, man.
I keep thinking with our luck, this would be the year of the draft where the defensive ends fall, or like the offensive, like a banging offensive, like Evan Neal or like Aiden Hutchinson falls to 11. I'm like, come on, that's not going to happen. But I'm like, watch it be our luck where all the receivers go right before we pick, and then it's like we're stuck with like a defensive end or.
Absolutely. But so you're making, like, don't make your final prediction, but do you agree that once we leave Thursday night, the person holding the jersey and the Commanders draft cap is going to be an Ohio State Buckeyes receiver?
I certainly hope so. I really believe that. I do.
Yep.
How are you feeling when we do draft one of those? How are you feeling at the end of the night? Are you feeling like untouchable? Like, can you talk trash like to anybody?
Yeah,
or like,
bro, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to see Commander Carson. I'm ready to see the practice uniforms get broken. I want to see if they're any different than former year. I'm ready to see us get to work. The rest of the draft at this point is an immediate hit because we got a weapon in the first round and we didn't go defense. I'm ready to go. I'm pumped. I'm flexing and I'm talking trash, and I'm 10 out of 10. Give me a receiver. Bro, even if it's Drake London, and that's someone I was not as high on earlier in the process, I think Drake London is going to go in the top 10 because the league views him differently than I do. And they want that 6'5" guy with short area quickness that can make a 50-50 ball, an 80-20 ball. But Olave, Wilson, one of y'all, come on down. And whichever one of y'all we take, we're number 1, numero uno. And let's get it, bro. And that jersey is going to fly off the shelf, man. Any closing comments before we go?
Nah, man. Just check us out. Tay and Todd. We're on YouTube and Apple podcasts. Just check us out, my man Todd. Shout out to him. He does the play breakdowns, and we'll be doing some more breakdowns coming up here soon with whatever rookie we get. We'll be on top of that. Whatever rookies we get, we'll be on top of that. And we'll be having some stuff dropping here soon.
Absolutely, man. And before we go, shout out to the Hog Farmers for the Hog Farmers hoodie. Guys are doing God's work out here. Everything that they do for pediatric cancer. Shout out to my guys, Hog Farmer Chris, Jeff, Joe, KJ, Keith, Corey, all you guys, man. Keep doing God's work and keep being great human beings and being faces of the fan base in a positive direction. But that's all I've got for you today. Me and Commander Tay are about to check out. Y'all know where to find me. Real_Robinson91. Take command. Hail to the Commanders. Deuces.